Collection of stories by women who hold so many many different histories, experiences, perspectives in their bodies and in their voices and the stories that you're going to see on stage. And I think everyone who was involved can agree with me that this process has really encouraged us to reflect on where we come from, how we ended up here, and where we're headed. When I think about my own lineage, which I've been able to trace back about 3,000 years, my family has been in the same village in India and found their roles as farmers until now, when we immigrated and were planting seeds, like so many of us, and growing new roots on this land. And I also think about how this history I've been able to trace is just a fraction of the history of this land that we are on right now, and the First Nations, Métis and Inuit who've been caring for this land and continue to do so today. And with today and this event in particular, I want to acknowledge that we're so privileged to be doing this on the Haldimand Tract, on Six Nations territory, traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and neutral peoples, on land that has been promised to them and has yet to be returned. So whether we've been here for a few months or weeks, or we've been here for so many generations, we all definitely play a role in moving towards conciliation and finding out how we braid all these histories and cultures that we're bringing together. So I really encourage you to think about this afternoon, and as you walk out of here, where you came from, how you ended up here, why you ended up here, and where we're headed. And how part of moving towards this incredible future that we're all really hoping for includes lifting up the women and the matriarchs in our communities. And with that, there was an incredible team of facilitators and participants who brought this project to life for all of us and will bring it to life for you this afternoon. So I really encourage you to look at and keep your programs. Definitely use them to cool yourselves off, but then open them up. Check out the amazing bios of all of the performers you're going to see tonight, the acknowledgements of who was involved, including all of our sponsors, without whom we wouldn't have been able to make this project happen again. So you can find all of our sponsors on the back of the program as well.
Thank you, Pam. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Tasneem Jamal. I am the writing coach and an editor of the X-Page workshop. I'll give you a little bit of background of this workshop. We started in 2019, that was our first season, and I think it was in 2018 that Carrie contacted me with this germ of an idea. And it's amazing to me. This is the fourth year we're doing it. The purpose is really to bring together refugee and immigrant women with local artists who those of us here, who would help the women develop, write, and then perform their stories. And it's an incredible process to go through. We do 12 weeks each year. Last year we did it entirely online, and we still did it. We pulled it off during the pandemic. But the women who come are so generous. They come with this. I've just blown out that they are willing to share of themselves, of their communities, and Pam leads us in these theater warm-ups and things that to me are just so bananas, and they just throw themselves into this, and it's just I think I can speak for all of us who facilitate this program that we get so much more out of it than we give. It's a beautiful thing. And so what we do is we facilitate the storytelling, but the stories are theirs and the voices are theirs. And so I hope you can accept that with the generosity that they've been doing.
Thanks, Tasneem. My name is Carrie Snyder, and as Tasneem said, I co-founded this workshop in 2019-2018 with Lamise Alathari, who can't be here today. And it's just grown, and it's amazing that we're back in person. Thank you for being here and coming to see this show in person. We're so appreciative. So the X page, we often get the question, what is the X page? And it uses an exercise that's based on the teachings of Lynda Barry, who is a graphic novelist and a teacher herself. And we like to think of the X page as being kind of the opposite of a blank page. And it's this space where we can develop and explore an image, a memory, a story, using all of our senses. It's very powerful, and as you'll see, the women have built these stories from scratch, from the ground up, in 12 weeks, bringing them to fruition for a performance for you. And we invite you in to the X page. Welcome to our performance of Voices.
Stitched together by malls, shopping centers, gas stations, and churches, and the roller rink. A horde of kids lines up, $5 in hand, waiting to be let into the 6 o'clock session. The white-haired woman sits at the ticket window, checking skates and taking cash. A bubblegum popping teen stands at the doorway, tacking on wristbands before letting anyone through the rink. Inside is dimly lit. Pink beams from the spinning disco light weave around the galaxy pattern carpet, spotlighting shooting 5-point stars, patches of gum gone black, and unrecognizable planets from outside the Milky Way. They haven't started the music yet, and the glossy ring floor is still empty. I'm waiting for my friends to come in. We are deep. No, we're in that frantic era of middle school, deep in the throes of puberty. Whether tentative or more sure-footed, we're stepping into who we want to be. But that gap to adulthood is always wider than anyone expects, so we end up stumbling haphazardly into the grown-up versions of ourselves. I slide off my tennis shoes and shut them under the bench before sliding on my rollerblades. I haven't worn them since my summer crash. There's this hill in one of the divisions of my neighborhood. It's steep and long enough to satisfy the need for a thrill without feeling too dangerous. Sometimes I'll escape the house without my helmet for an extra thrilling time. On that day, though, the universe whispered in my ear. My mom would call it common sense, but that doesn't always avail itself to young, immortal beings. Grab your helmet, the universe said. Just this time, you should. I was, and still am, a creature of instinct, of gut, of faith, an animal listening for cosmic direction. It's an extension of that immortality, relying on the wisdom of the greater envelope of chaos. So, I grabbed my helmet and headed out. The thrill as I gained speed on my rollerblades transformed into terror. At the bottom of the hill, I turned too soon and jumped the curb. I went flying into the middle of the road, pitching backward until my body was parallel to the ground before I was pulled back to earth. My helmet hit the asphalt first. Today, though, My head is above my feet. Today, I put my rollerblades back on. Today, the universe is quiet. Ryan gracefully plops down next to me on the bench. We've been classmates since 3rd grade, and this year he's finally outgrown me. He splays his longer legs and slunks over to lace up a pair of brown leather roller skates. Ryan is about 60-40 on remembering to burn his own blades. Today is obviously a 40 day. Even the most professional, slickest skater cannot stay upright on the roller rink rentals. So, we either bring our own blades. Actually, I'm convinced they grease the wheels just for the laugh. So we either bring our own blades, or it's renter beware. The air is thick and unmoving, smelling of sugary syrup, butter, and sweat. The closest breeze is taking a spin around the ring. We glide counterclockwise. We sing and half dance and laugh over a soundtrack of the early 2000s mixed with 70s hits. Then, a slow song comes on. Couples skate. It's time to head for concessions. We're balanced over by the brick wall, sharing popcorn and candy while the couples from newly minted to the ripe old age of 2 weeks wind their way around the rink hand in hand. Hey Ryan! We wave him over to join the gossip sesh. We need to know what he's heard from the low brass corner elevator room. He glides over, maybe smoother than he's expected, because he has to stop short at the wall. And before he can set down his topped off cup of Coke, he starts to teeter, then totter, steep, dangerous angles. Then he disappears. Ryan! I lean over the wall to see the cup still filled to the brim as he lifts it up and onto the wall. Ryan pulls himself upright to a round of applause.
I am 10 years old. It is recess at school, and I'm walking with Mika, my best friend. We met each other last year in grade 4. We like each other just because. I like Mika as she is. I accept her as she is. She has asthma and can't run. I am chubby, and I don't like to run. So instead, we walk, arms locked, back and forth over the schoolyard, and we talk. The girls in grade 6 are jealous. Sometimes they say things like, there goes the conjoined twins, or Peggy and Mika sure like each other, and then burst out into laughter. Our friendship exists mainly at school. We never hang out outside of school. But she knows where I live. Piccadilly Street, second house on the left, with a big avocado tree in front of the house. Every morning, Mika picks me up at 7:30 a.m. She calls out my name. Our dog starts barking, which tells me that she has arrived. On the way to school, we talk about what we did yesterday. Sometimes we guess who at school will leave Suriname, our country, and move to the Netherlands. I don't know if Mika has a secret spot at our house, but I do. Mine is in the corner of the fence by the avocado tree. The tree is a year younger than I. Mom planted it from a seed when we first moved here. Like me, the tree grew bigger and bigger each year. Its branches are strong and its leaves are dark green. I really want to climb the tree. But Mom says, girls don't plant trees. I ask, why not? They will never bear fruit if you do. Besides, you might fall and break something. That doesn't make sense. Girls are not allowed to plant trees, but the tree doesn't bear fruit anyway. A while ago, my brother left his clothes on the floor. Mom asked him to pick up his clothes from the floor. When she came home, they were still there. Frustrated, he flung his underwear to the avocado tree. Maybe that's why the tree doesn't grow any avocado. One afternoon, while Mom was napping, I go to my sleeping spot. It is hot, and there's no breeze. I hear the neighbor's radio playing Hindustani music, which means that it is after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I look up and think, shall I? Nah. But my urge time is strong. I pull myself up on the rose branch and sit on it. I then move to watch the tree trunk. The wavy bark feels rough. I reach for the next branch and stand up. My legs are shaking and my heart is racing. I decide to go up one more branch. I can feel beads of sweat on my forehead and upper lip. And I look down and I feel overwhelmed by the view from up here. I don't know how to get down, but Mom wakes up and starts looking for me. But I manage, and I jump from the lowest branch. I feel triumphant. A while later, on a Saturday morning, Mom is out raking the yard. I'm inside eating breakfast. Then Mom comes in, and she said, have you seen the small avocados on the tree? I nearly choked on my breakfast. No, I have not. Mom says, I have thought about taking this tree down, but it was worth waiting. I nod approvingly. I should have planted sooner. Next time I see Mika, I tell her what I did. She laughs and pinches her nose. She always does that when she doesn't want to make any noise while she's laughing. She then shakes her head and says, boy, you are trouble. But don't worry, your secret is safe with me. At age 10, I truly believe that it was my superpower as a girl which made the tree finally grow avocados.
It's only in adulthood that I realized that it takes about 10 to 13 years for an avocado tree to grow from a seed to a big tree that can bear fruit.
I was once 15 years old. I went to my friend Jenny's house to do her assignment, or integrated science assignment, due the following day. Jenny, who doesn't like doing her assignment, chose to bake a cake instead with her assignment. Do you want to help? No, I can't bake. You go ahead. Jenny started taking out the ingredients, the bowl, the whisk. As she was about to put all the ingredients together, a friend of hers came by. Hey boy. Can you finish baking the cake for me? No, I said. Tomorrow, I don't know how to do it. Tomorrow, she said, put all the wet ingredients together, then add the cake mix. She then proceeded to the veranda to talk to her boyfriend. On the counter, I saw 3 eggs. I break them one by one into the bowl and whisk them together. As I was about to add the cake mix to the wet ingredients, I heard Jenny's mother outside making a loud noise. Jenny's mother will make several trips back home during the days because her business place is nearby. Is this what you're supposed? Who is this person you have in my house? She said to Jenny and the boy. Is this what you should be doing? Or you should be doing your assignment instead? Answer me down before I box you. Since you want to be treated as a child, I will treat you as one. I continued to add the cake mix into the wet ingredients while Jenny's mother stormed into the house, locked on top of her voice. Then she came in the kitchen and saw me. Hi, Tamara, she said, and told me that I would have to continue baking at home because Jenny will be coming back to her to the store. Jenny wasn't moving fast enough. Jenny's mother was so upset and Jenny wasn't moving fast enough, so she conked her on her forehead. I comforted her, but being rebellious was Jenny's middle name, so she moved even slower. I then told her that I would bring the cake to school the following day. I live approximately 3 to 4 blocks away from Jenny, so I poured the batter into the container, hold it very gingerly. I poured the batter into the container and hold it gingerly and go home so it wouldn't spill. I was so worried, wondering what I should tell my mother. Should I tell her the truth or should I tell her the lie? Because I was supposed to be doing my homework. I was so deep into thoughts. I walked past everyone, not saying hello or good afternoon. As I was about to reach home, I decided to tell my mother the truth. After telling Mom the truth, she told me all assignments would be done at home from now on so she can keep her eye on me. Still holding the container with all the batter, I asked Mom, can you help me to bake the cake? She said, Tamara, it's easy. You just need to turn the burner, strike the matches, and put it in the hole in the oven. I then went to the kitchen and poured the batter into it. I then went to the kitchen and oiled a 12-inch baking pan and poured the batter in. Mom, can you please help me? No, Tamara, you need to try it first for yourself. So, I turned the burner, strike the matches. Now I was about to open the oven, it exploded. It exploded. Then I realized that all the hairs on my arm was burnt off. I was so shaken up and frightened. Mom! I was so frightened. Then she ran into the kitchen, and as she was supposed, ran into the kitchen, and as she was putting the cake in, she explained, Tamara, you must first open the oven, then turn the burners, strike the matches, and put the cake in. Within 35 to 45 minutes, the cake was ready. Even though it was frightening, I was pleased to have baked my first cake. I took a shower, I cut a slice of the cake, and I enjoyed every bit of it. The following day, I went to school, and I took the cake to school, and the following day I took the cake to school for me, Jenny, and our friends to eat after lunch. I then told them the story of the hair being burned from my hand. Everybody came around to look at my hand and to ensure that I was okay. After they found that I was okay, they all laughed at me. For weeks, they made fun of me. Thank you.
mom is a high school teacher in China. Teachers working long hours in China is normal. Because of demanding job, the government would provide free accommodation to the teachers so that they could balance their family life and work. I remember many times after I walked home from school, my mom would greet me with big smiles and delicious meal. Sometimes it was crispy spring rolls. Sometimes it was stir-fried rice. Sometimes it was dumplings wrapped with papa. My mom would say, cooking is a service, a labor of love. My hometown is by the Yangtze River. The winter can be as low as 1 degree. It may not sound as harsh as winter in Canada, but there's one but. My daughter is right here. She always says, Mom, don't say but. But with humidity and without central heating, winter in my hometown can be bitterly cold. After long walk home from school, my poor hand would be frozen cold and puffy red. The first thing I got home was putting my frozen hand under my mom's warm belly. The warmth from her body slowly warmed up my poor frozen hand. After the meal, I would do homework like a typical good girl. When I was in grade 1, I came home without sign of mom. No delicious meal to fill my empty belly. No warm body to warm up my frozen hands. A note left by mom said she would be home late because of long meeting at work. I decided to surprise my mom by preparing a meal for her. I took the rice out of the rice jar, put into the rice cooker, plugged it onto the wall, push the on button. While I was waiting for the rice to be cooked, I was dancing and singing in the kitchen, waiting for the magic to happen. A delicious meal would appear in 20 minutes. Mom came to the door. Her smile was radiating like a sunshine.
How was your day, my little panda?
Mom, please cover your eyes. Come here with me. Open your eyes. Oh no, what happened? Why the rice turned black? What happened? Mom explained I should add water into the rice. I'm sorry, Mom.
My little panda, this is the best meal I'll ever have. Thank you.
Next time, Mom. 40 years later, both my mom and I still remember the first meal I made, an uneaten charcoal rice. 40 years later, a well-respected teacher in the community. She is still teaching. She has turned her duty of teaching to a passion, to a labor of love. Cooking is a service. When we add the ingredients of love, even a charcoal meal and uneaten meal can still be remembered 40 years later by a daughter, a mom, and a daughter who becomes a mom.
I'm at home. It's safe and cozy inside. Safe because I'm not getting rained on outside. The weather has been miserable for several days now. The crops are getting uprooted because of all the heavy rain, which will not be good for the harvest, I heard my mother say the other day. Ordinarily, I'll be outside in the warm sunshine, playing with my friends in the dried up backyard. Not today. Ordinarily, Amai, or Mom, will be having her afternoon nap. She loves her naps. Not this afternoon. I'm in the kitchen talking to my mother, who keeps telling me to hold on a minute as she moves the dishes, works the cake mixture, and attempts to wipe clean her flour-stained hands on a navy blue apron. There is a line of sweat crowning her brow, which she wipes away with the back of her hand. Mom, how many scones are you baking today? 12? 20, she responds. 20? What a treat! 20 delicious tea scones, as we call them in Malawi, biscuits to you, which I expect to turn out a light golden brown. The rain on the rooftop startles me as it begins to pound harder. I feel a strong breeze brushing aside the kitchen curtains, and the chill briefly creeps over my bare arms. There is a smell of fresh baking wafting through the air, and I start to jump excitedly, ready to revisit the familiar taste of the tea scones. Before I can taste one, I hear a sound, a loud tap, tap, tap sound, coming from the dining room across the corridor. Being a curious Jane, I forget about the golden treats and push open the door wide. To my surprise, there's a blackbird pecking at the windowsill, a sound that is quickly starting to irritate my ears. The bird is not afraid of me and keeps making the tapping sound, even as I try to scare it away. The bird turns to face me and says my name quietly at first, but much louder, and calls out my name, but instead of a sweet tweeting sound, I hear a deep male voice calling out my name. Toko, Toko, Toko. The bird's face morphs into a human face. Just as I am frightened by this apparition, I awaken from my dream to hear my brother, Tiona, calling out my name. Toko, Toko, Toko. I reluctantly push myself over the edge of my childhood bed. No longer 8 years old, but a grown mother with 2 children.
I gently opened the door to behold a man, my brother, wearing a black shirt and black pants, covering his older dark brown skin, bearing two tired but kind eyes. Hi, big girl. Thanks for waking me up. I muttered submissively, accepting his request to go to the kitchen where everyone was waiting. My sister cousin, who has baked a dozen scones, the smell that was teasing my dreams, offers me one to have with my tea. My eyes scan the kitchen, hoping to catch a glimpse of my mother also baking, but she's not there. There is a stream of countless relatives coming in and out of the kitchen, the central hub. Ah, it is a Saturday afternoon, and she should be having her nap anyway. One of my younger cousins exclaims excitedly, saying she got the last jar of jam. But I am distracted by the tassels on her black headscarf, swaying side to side as she speaks. I see a sea of black all around me. Almost everyone is adorned in black. I feel overwhelmed by the lack of color. I need a change of scenery. With one gasp, I silently step outside, unobserved by those near me, into the fresh air outside. There's no rain this afternoon, but there are angry gray rain clouds advancing from the horizon. I step into the garden my mom loves so much. I am drawn to a cluster of yellow daisies. In this little corner of my paradise, I am reminded of why I am in Blantyre, Malawi, far away from Kitchener, Waterloo. One flower, one precious flower, my mother Daisy, is no more. She rests peacefully underneath the now dry, brown, broken ground.
It was early morning, and I woke up to the melody of the songs my mom liked to play on the tape recorder. I heard my mom cleaning around the house, preparing for a big project for today. I thought I needed a few minutes to move from my bed. I wrote my favorite words on the wall, not with a pencil, but with my finger. I liked tracing words on the wall. I was 7 years old and just started learning to write words. I felt happy and proud when reading or writing new words. I traced the words love and mom and jam because I love my mom and the jam that she makes for us. Yesterday, the mobile vegetable seller brought a bulk order of the best kind of apricots that mom had ordered. He drove his small trucks between streets and lanes in my hometown of Damascus, Syria, selling his seasonal fruits and vegetables. He would sell all different kinds of apricots, al-baladi, al-ajami, al-klabi, al-hamni, and al-talburi. He called out the names of the produce for sale in funny rhymes so the people would buy from him.
المشمش موردي يا بلدي خمير يا بلدي طيب يا مشمش.
The apricots are from al-baladi town and they are reddish. The apricots are ripened and tender and almost melted. Al-baladi and al-ajami were the best for making jam. My mom looked for big-sided fruits, reddish and sweet. I knew there would be busy days ahead making jam. Yesterday, my sisters Rowan and Diana and I helped my mom remove the seeds from the food. We loved having mom while chatting. My mom liked to talk about our future. She had a sense of humor too. I laughed at her jokes sometimes. At other times, I felt, man, she got upset with me because of the mess I did. I was so excited to see the jam ready in jars, but I knew that I had to wait for 1 week or 2 before I could taste it. Preparing jam is a long process. My mom was very picky about the final product. She took care of every step. She wouldn't accept other than perfect work and perfect results. I enjoyed watching her prepare food. She left the soft velvet skins on the apricots and cut them in half. She cooked down the half-cut apricots with sugar. She needed to be precise about the time of cooking to get the beautiful orange amber color. She removed the froth from the top of the mix constantly so the jam didn't get bitter. Then she poured the mix into trays, covered them with gauze, and let them sit under the sun for about a week to thicken. I would go up the room with my mom to check it every day, to check if the color was good and if the thickness was perfect. When it was ready, my mom filled the jars with yummy jam. My mom made the best jam on earth with her talented hands. Oh, I can describe the sweetness of that jam, or the aroma that filled the air of our house, or the color that was just right, not too dark and not too light. Our kitchen was teeny tiny and barely fit 2 people and had only 3 shelves, and yet my mom magically prepared the most delicious food. She lined up the many jars of all different preserves on the shelves. I knew that the delicious jam waited for me on the shelf all winter, calling me to eat some with pita bread and raw cheese when I came back from school hungry. My mom's care accompanied us even after she passed away the year I turned 14 years old. That year, that winter, I found the jam that she made the year before waiting for me on the shelf when I came back from school. My mom did not know that she would leave us forever, but she left us this treasure that she made with her hands. I miss those days that were bundled with love, care, and warmth from my mom. I wish that my mom could have spent more hours talking to us, kissing us, hugging us, telling us more stories about her childhood, and sharing with us dreams and wisdom. I miss her, and I know that my mom's love and care were packed in that delicious jam.
My younger brother and I were playing in the dirt driveway in front of Aunt Chan's house. We were bored. We had come from Port of Spain, the capital of Trinidad and Tobago, to central Trinidad, to a village called California, for a family wedding. The name California sounded glamorous to my 9-year-old imagination. It was not glamorous. Aunt Chan's house was small, with peeling paint. The sun was high overhead in a cloudless sky. "Let's build Mount Everest," my brother said. We hunted for pebbles and made a pile. Aunt Chan had a high-pitched voice that motored on in a mix of English and Hindi as she gave out orders. for the wedding planning. Somebody had to cut banana leaves and wash them down so she could use them as plates at the wedding feast. The Tassa drum band was still haggling with her over their feet. She shot down her brother's suggestion to include curried châtaigne in the feast. It would make everybody gassy, so definitely not. Then her anxiety turned to panic. Hey, we need a virgin to rub the saffron on the sun. What about Indra? One lady offered. I said, a virgin, Parvati. A white brown car pulled into the driveway, kicking up the dust. Aunt Chan rushed past us to embrace her son as he emerged from the car. She turned to take him into the house, and her eyes rested on me. Her face lit up. Come here, we need a virgin to rub the saffron. I knew the Virgin Mary from religion classes at school, but could not see how she would be involved with Hindu wedding prayers. I had no idea what rubbing the saffron was. Aunt Chan led me into the green bamboo wedding tent. She smoothed my hair and straightened the straps of my blue cotton sundress. Take off your sandals, she commanded, and I obeyed. Aunt Chan's son entered the wedding tent and sat below a curtain of coconut fronds. He had changed out of his street clothes and now wore only a white dhoti loincloth. Family and neighbors trickled in and sat on mats on the ground before him. Aunt Chan offered me a brass plate filled with glittering yellow paste. Rub up the saffron on your chest. He is the bridegroom. I wanted to obey, but I didn't want to touch a strange man. He was a cousin, one that I had never met. He was naked from the waist up. Aunt Chan guided my free hand to the plate. Rub it up on your chest, girl. I dipped my fingers in and wiped one dot on his chest and stopped, hoping my mission was fulfilled. Yes, yes, rub it good, both hands now. She held out the plate for me, and I plunged both hands in. A cloud of gold dust rose. I rubbed the paste on his chest, on his shoulders, and his upper back in circles and spirals. Everything was yellow. My hands and his body. Gold dust in my hair and on his cheeks. Flecks on the white cotton trim of my sundress, and in streaks on his loincloth nestled in the folded fabric. Aunt Chan led me outside of the tent into the blinding light of the noonday sun. She gave me a sideways hug, careful not to get any saffron stains on her new pink sari. You did good on Andy. I was really worried we wouldn't find a virgin today.
I'm quickly entering the scene.
We are in Miramar, Argentina, for our summer vacation. The beach is full of people sunbathing, young men playing soccer, little children making sandcastles with canals on the shore. Some people are swimming in the sea. I am 16 years old, and I can see boating. My 6-year-old sister, my youngest sister, in the sea. She's far out, and the water is by her neck. It's a sunny day, hot, and the waves are the usual, a bit rough if you're not paying attention. I think she's starting to get out. I'm worried, so I decided to go in and check on her. As I get in, I can feel my sun-bathed, warm belly getting cooler as the water goes up and up, covering my chest. I'm wearing my first bikini ever. Colorful stripes, small but not tiny. It makes me feel older, a little more responsible somehow. She's going up and down. She's definitely afraid of trying to get out. Ceci, I can't get out, she yells. I'm coming. I yell back. As I get closer to her, I realize that the tide here is very strong. As we try to walk, I think closer to her, the tide is still pulling us out to the sea and towards the rocks. I reach her and I grab her hand tightly as we try to walk back to the beach. But I can feel a very strong force pushing us to the side, and it makes me walk like a crab to the side, and Toby too, it's even harder for her. I don't understand what's going on, but I cannot control this underwater force that pushes us to the rocks. A man is entering the sea. He's not running, but he's full of muscles. He's wearing a tight, small bathing suit. He's blondish with curly hair, definitely not my type. Clothes, obviously. Then I realize that he's a lifeguard, and he's coming in our direction. This cannot be happening. I'm not a child, and I know how to swim. How is he going to help us? This is so embarrassing. Don't worry, we're okay, I yelled to him. He doesn't seem to hear me, or even doesn't bother answering. He keeps advancing in our direction. Suddenly, I realize I cannot do this on my own. He reaches us and grabs our hands and starts walking towards the beach. And suddenly, it's like as if he has some sort of superpower or a protective bubble. And the tide is not so strong anymore. We don't need him anymore, but he's still holding our hands. I hope he doesn't mind. She looks tired. I feel my hand locked in his. The water is by our knees now, and he won't release our hands. This is so embarrassing. Everybody at the beach has been watching the scene. There's not a lot of action at the beach, so everybody was watching from the moment the lifeguard went into the water. Now they're staring at us. Our dad and my stepmom ran towards us, leaving behind a huge semicircle of strangers. The strangers are clapping their hands, the usual after a rescue. My hair is wet and cannot easily cover my lower red face. Yes, I'm sunburned, but this redness covers my whole head. I feel goosebumps on the rest of my body as the soft wind blows by. This is one of the most embarrassing moments in my life until now. Little do I know, there will be many more.
It was a dark night in the middle of summer. We were visiting our family in north of Iran for vacation. We were staying at my Uncle Ahmed's house. But we had finished our games and fall there. We were going to my other uncle's house, Uncle Hojat's, to spend the rest of the night there. I reached out to my mom to walk hand in hand in the dark garden path. The path between two houses. Reza, my brother Reza, and my cousin Tahir came with us. The garden path was full of the sounds of crickets, the smell of red roses and pink flowers wafted through the courtyards of some houses. The path was lit by the moonlight, which made us children more calm and relaxed. We were laughing, but Mama was worried. Run, run, get there soon, it's too dark. Reza asked, Tarek, have you ever heard our dad's story? How he passed by this graveyard and saw a white spirit with whom he spoke? Tarek sounded excited. No, really? You mean Uncle Murtaza saw a white ghost in this graveyard? How? When did it happen? Yeah, in this village certainly. When our dad was only 16 years old, he stayed up late at one of his friends. When he was returning home, it was completely dark, like now. He decided to try a new path to his parents. The path besides this graveyard. Dad walked very slowly. His heart was full of fear. He suddenly saw something white and glowing right beside the graveyard. There. My cousin Tahir gasped. Reza's words made the path more darker and even longer. Dad was very scared. He was also curious. It looked like the ghost was pointing to the left and to the right. It seemed to say something, don't go left, don't go right, come here. Dad's imagination was running wild, but he wasn't really a fan of ghost stories were so popular in villages. He wanted to know the truth. He was breathing fast and sweating. He felt a strange coldness in his legs. He moved his legs. He moved his leg. The closer he got, the louder the sound of snorting and whispering. Don't go left, don't go right, come here. Now, our dad was just a few steps from the white ghost. It sighed loudly and Dad jumped. He saw that the white ghost wasn't really a ghost. It was a farmer's white horse, which hadn't been taken to the stable yet. And the arm pointed to the left and to the right was the horse's tail. It moved it to swat the mosquitoes on that warm night. That was after he saw it was just a horse that laughed. He wiped the sweat from his forehead. Then he walked home feeling proud. He had faced his own fear. Toher and Renzo and I all laughed. Mama laughed too, but he couldn't help saying, go, run through, get through the dark night and these tall trees faster. At last, we got there. We got to Uncle Hojat's house. A dim light lit the wooden steps in the courtyard. I heard laughter. My other cousins and all the guests. I smelled a slice sweet of watermelon. There was no thought of fear. There was no thought of darkness of that night. No fear and no worries at that moment. What did I feel? What do I remember now? It was the scent of pure night gathering all around us. It was summer vacation and my dad's birthplace. I remember this all very well.
Lunch break is done. It's time to move on. Chebet, our forest guide, shouted. Tummy's full, we all scrambled to our feet. Plates and forks still in hand. Nothing tasted better than pilau rice and meat. Pick up any plant, leaf or flower, and make a soup on your plate. I picked pink flowers, small spiky leaves, and big succulent leaves. I made a slimy pink soup. The forest gives us so much, Chebet the forest guide was saying. You never know, you could have made a cure for HIV right on your plate. Listen to the forest, he urged. What do you hear? Captivated by his passion, we all closed our eyes and listened. We were on the slopes of Elgon, a volcanic mountain that lies on the eastern border of Uganda to Kenya. The forest surrounded us, thick, hot, and humid. Calabash monkeys called out to each other, their echoes bouncing off the undulating terrain. The air smelled of rotting wood, fruits, and fresh greens all at once. The fiery tangerine ants crisscrossed our paths, moving along the tunnels and highways made by their own body. Pity the foot that stepped on those highways. We went deeper into the forest. I was at the front of the line, right next to Chebet, asking all the questions my 9-year-old brain could summon, but mostly just showing off. I knew how rain was formed. I knew how soil was made. I knew most of the names of the plants. Well, my dad, he was a forest guide too, and he spared no teachable moments. We came to a huge tree with a big trunk and thick dark leaves. We rested under its shade, happy to take a break. It's free time, Chebet announced. You can do anything you want to do. Some played duel with small stones. Others made dolls with twigs and leaves. Others made bouquets of flowers. Others made mukatiat, a cushion-like donut thing that you put on your head when you carried a heavy jerrycan of water from the river. I picked up some flowers and tried to make a necklace. Suddenly, a loud rumbling voice filled the air. Startled, everyone dropped what they were doing. Who are you? And what are you doing? Who gave you permission? I threw the flowers I was holding away from me and braced myself to run. Kato had jumped into a bush nearby and I was heading there too. Behind me was a stampede of children who were falling all over each other, trying to run in different directions all at the same time. I looked for Chebet. There he was, lying flat on the ground, right next to the overturned water jerrycan, completely terrified. When I saw him like this, I knew we were in deep, deep trouble. He motioned us to get down on the ground and stay quiet. A strong silence filled the air. The tension was palpable. 5 minutes seemed to go by. I had someone stifling a cry. Kato tried to speak and everyone else hushed him down. Chebet slowly stood up. What do you hear the forest saying? He said. This time, even I did not have an answer. That whole week had come. Everyone was trying to figure out what the voice was. Was it a ghost? A witch? A spirit? A calavana? The one with wooden feet that walked around the night looking for children that failed to fall asleep? Chebet said he had never seen or heard anything like that in his entire life. What was that voice? I asked my dad. Immediately I got home from camp. What do you think it was? My dad said, with a playful twinkle in his eyes. Then I knew. A forest guard with a big, deep voice had entered into the large tree trunk and was speaking through it. I'm almost 40 now, only beginning to grasp the power of voice. That tree spoke, and we all stopped and listened. The tree spoke, and we were spurred to action. The tree spoke, and we debated. How about if we all use our voices and spoke?
Gravity. Friendship.
Lesson.
Law. Colors.
Sweetness.
Celebration.
Memories.
Voice.
to invite you to stay and celebrate with us. We have planned a little reception. I believe it is down those stairs when you go through the doors. It's in the dining room area by the windows. There are snacks, there are drinks, and we just welcome you to stay, hang out on the patio, and celebrate with us. Thank you.